Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'll be covering one of my favorite Conan stories of all time, King Conan number 18, published in 1983 by Marvel Comics. I loved this issue so much as a kid growing up. I remember in issue 17, they previewed a couple of the pages from this story, and I was blown away by them. And at the time, I wasn't really aware of just how great an artist Rudy Nebres was. But after I read this issue, I immediately became a huge Rudy Nebres fan. He became my favorite Conan artist. I eagerly sought out any issues of Savage Sword that he inked. Normally, he was an inker who would ink John Buscema's pencils in Savage Sword of Conan. He also did a number of issues, full artist chores, I think, or at least pencils on Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. But a lot of his work was confined to the Conan comics in the fantasy genre. He did do another great issue of Doctor Strange, pencils and inks, which is totally awesome. I'll cover it on the show one day. But I love this issue so much that probably 10 years ago now, maybe even 15 years ago, my buddy Jeff, who owns Phantom of the Attic Comics in Pittsburgh, was at a convention. Rudy Nebres was actually there. I was unable to be there. I think I was working. And he got Rudy to sign a copy of King Conan number 18 for me. And I treasure this. Through all of my trials and tribulations, I've carried this comic with me. And so I'm not going to read this one today because it's kind of special. But I do have another copy that I found in a dollar bin, which, I mean, if you can find these issues in dollar bins, grab them up. They're totally awesome. So let's get started. Take a look at this incredible story. Look at this splash page. A Hyborian Age classic by Alan Zelenetz, script, and Rudy Nebres, art. So Rudy is doing pencils and inks in this story. So here we have Conan is coming back from escorting Queen Ayelet back to her home country, and he and his horse fall prey to this pit trap. Once we've pushed the Tiber River, you'll trample familiar soil beneath those hooves again, and it's back to playing King of Aquilonia for me. Whoa, a pit, what scurvy? And so we'll get back to Conan in a second. Title of our story, The Devil of Darfar. So here we have an incredible carnival going on in the neighboring kingdom of Ophir, the capital city of Kerala. Capital of Ophir, and here's the king and his queen waiting for some further entertainment to show up. Kerala's grand procession is second to none else in the realm, my dear. Indeed, my lord, I do share the throne of Ophir with a great pride this day. And hundreds of dignitaries have come from as far as distant Kitai for tonight's grand festivities in our court, though I confess they are more anxious to see Ibumala's famed carnival of grotesqueries than to honor the gentle Lord Mitra. So, that aforementioned Ibumala, and by the way, I loved this Star Frontiers ad as a kid, really cool. Aforementioned Ibumala, he now enters our story, and he is a bad, bad man. Here he is torturing this guy. It becomes apparent that his carnival of grotesqueries, these poor individuals who he's enslaved for the entertainment of others, have escaped. And so he is trying to get information out of this guy who he believes had a part in their escape. And he's basically torturing him. And you can see here just the intricacy of Rudy Nebres' art. It's so lush. The musculature is so amazingly well defined. There's such depth to his work. When he inks John Buscema, it's my favorite version of John Buscema, except for when John Buscema inks himself. And when he's inking his own pencils, it's just next level good. It's so amazing. And the colorist, that I think might be Christy Shield, the other talents for this issue are listed at the end, so we'll get to them, does a really nice job too, because there's a lot here for them to work with these pencils and inks by Rudy Nebres. Totally great. And you can see here just how cruel and heartless Ibumala is, and a physically incredibly formidable individual too, which is going to set up an interesting conflict with our protagonist Conan here as the story goes on. Cut the coward down. I've left his heart untouched. Roast it for me. The natives of Darfar are notorious for their cannibalism in the Hyborian myths. Where are Furos and Damon, the two dogs who were supposed to be on watch when the escape occurred? They still scour the woods for the missing slaves. So here we have a great open panel with Ibumala. This figure work is just incredible. Curse their carcasses. Do they know what will happen if I disappoint the king this evening? So Ibumala is basically accustomed to a life of luxury at the pain and expense of others, and now that is at risk with the escape of these grotesqueries, his carnival of the strange, and he will spare no effort to get them back. Meanwhile, Conan's back at the bottom of the pit. He has to put his poor horse down. It's a mercy because the horse has broken legs and is just suffering. And on his first attempt, he is unable to leap out of the pit. Remember, this is King Conan, so he's probably in his early 50s at this point. So he is not as formidable a specimen as he was at the height of his powers, although we'll still find that he's incredibly capable. And here are those two henchmen who, at the beckoning of Ibumala, have gone after the grotesqueries and have in fact dug that pit to try and capture them, but instead they captured Conan. Well, let's see if we've had luck. Nay, Dogface, it's not one of your runaways. Only a born Sumerian hillman could climb that wall of dirt. Now you'll answer for the death of a stallion worth 50 of your kind, scum. And this guy thinks he's just some traveler that they've caught by accident, but he doesn't realize how formidable Conan is, and Conan dispatches him off panel here. You can see the other guy running away. Flee to your kennel then, you cringing cur. Well, this nag will have to do until... Who's that? So Conan notices someone's watching him here. So he ties up the horse. Hang, you scoundrel, hold right there. Follows him into this cave. Really excellent use of shadow and light. Rudy Nebres is a master of that. He's just a master artist, a member of the Filipino invasion from the 70s into comics, along with guys like Tony DeZanuga and Nestor Redondo and other artists of that quality and caliber. And here, Conan, as he's entering the cave, is tripped up going down these stairs, falls, and is in light reveals who he is facing. Crom, what black luck have I tumbled into now? Here are the aforementioned grotesqueries. The devil, answer that. This sword last hacked a score of Hyrcanian guardsmen into a heap of mangled corpses. Would you try it against your lone pickaxe dogs? And this masked fellow steps forward. I am Montago. Stay your steel, stranger, and accept our apologies. We expect one of Ibumala's men. Ibumala. That's the second time I've heard that infernal name this hour. I gutted one of his lackeys in the woods above. Who in dark tarnation is this cur? More than a cur, stranger. Ibumala's a cursed devil in man's guise. He came up from Darfar, the kingdom beside Kush, where cannibal tribesmen pick the meat off human bones like ghouls. Years ago, Ibumala commanded the warriors of Darfar's most powerful clan, until one day, unwittingly, he led them into an ambush of hated foes. Ordering his men to hold their ground, he himself fled and left them to be butchered. He returned to his tribe, boasting lies of bravery and daring, but a lone warrior of his survived a living corpse and followed to accuse Ibumala before the inner council. Ibumala was stripped of rank and possessions. Then, awaiting the hour of execution, he strangled his jailer and escaped. Now he travels the Hyborian realms, turning the people's lust for the bizarre and strange into personal wealth. All of us here, because we are different, have been dragged from our homes and made as pitiful slaves, performing in fairs, in marketplaces, and in all the royal courts to the jeers of crowds and mocking laughter. Another great piece here from Rudy Nebres showing this strong man with these two dwarves. Super cool. A great recap of Ibu Mala's background here. Like the coward he is, Ibu Mala is a servile flatterer to the nobility he courts, but a cruel tyrant to those of us he holds in chains. These scars are uglier by far than the monstrous face I now can hide beneath this sack. For I was born with twisted features they could not be helped. These scars, however, are the purposeful design of an evil man. How did you free yourselves then? Last night, through oversight, none locked my shackles. I feigned illness and soon overcame my guard. Then broke the manacles of as many of my fellows as time allowed. So fearful were they of the wicked Ibu Mala, they at first refused to run until the noise of other guards returning drunk from the tavern frightened them into following me. Thus has the devil of Darfur crushed their spirits. And then here we get a great full-page recap where Conan introduces himself and we get a recap of his career. Just gorgeous artwork, an incredible montage from Rudy Nebres here, showing us a young and virile Conan at the height of his powers when he took the throne from Nabonidus, or Numemnidi. That's easy for me to say. King Numemnides of Aquilonia. Nabonidus was the red priest from Rogues in the House. I confuse my Hyborian scoundrels. Anyway, so that we get a beautiful shot of Conan's career here. For that alone, I'd wring this Ibu Mala's neck till his veins burst at his temples. Tell me where the devil's put up, and I'll make a pair of breeches of his sun-burnt hide. Aye, be our king, sire, free us from Ibu Mala. I will join you, Conan. Ibu Mala is already on our trail and cannot run forever, and we cannot run forever. I would attack and put an end to the fear that racks us. Though I am unskilled, I have stolen the fallen guard's sword. And I'll go as well to squirm myself where you cannot, and to sneak about after our enemies, for Ibu Mala's wagons often move from day to day. Crom's beer, then. Let's be off before the night's wasted in chatter. So remember this guy. He's going to play big in our story as we move along. Meanwhile, Ibu Mala is stalling here with his Kushite wrestlers, but the crowd of nobles is getting pretty rowdy. They want to see the grotesqueries, and Ibu Mala is doing his best to stall. I love the use of, not only does Rudy Nebres spot these blacks really well, like the use of light here, the use of shading, and of course our colorist is coming in and properly treating this artwork and giving us the best combination. I've never seen this issue reproduced on like Baxter paper or in an essential edition or an epic collection. I don't know. I'm assuming a color version of this does exist, maybe in an omnibus, though I don't usually buy omnibuses, but it would be cool to see it reproduced on something other than newsprint, but I do love newsprint, as you know if you've watched any episodes of the show. This is my preferred format. Besides Baxter paper. If I could have everything on Baxter paper, I would, but that's not an option. So here, one of Ibu Mala's people comes and tells him an update of what's going on. Buros has been slain in the woods, and the slaves, we could not find them. Not a hair of them. Jules' gut. Ibu Mala. Approach the throne, knave. What? Most humble apologies, Majesty. I can explain. Silence. Be you so brazen to make mockery of Kerala's throne before our honored guests? You are beneath our contempt, a scoundrel and a liar. Quit our court. Your gold is forfeit, though your life's yet spared. But dare to lurk within the capital come dawn, then by night's fall, Ophir's dogs will gnaw your bones. I take my leave most humbly, your highness. So he leaves a laughingstock, so he's obviously going to take this out on his poor people. So this guard who fled from Conan in the woods and gave the report Ibu Mala basically chokes him to death. I mean, he's incredibly powerful. We find those escaped hounds this night, or I'll crack every neck among you wretches. So he leads by fear, intimidation, and torture. Meanwhile, our heroes arrive in Kerala. During Mitra's feast, the city does not sleep, Conan. Indoors, outdoors, court, and tavern, endless revelry. I'll spy out Ibu Mala's current whereabouts. Wait for me here before this inn. Swift as a devil, dwarf. I'd make short shrift of this roguish escapade, for there's an auburn beauty and strapping prince of a lad waiting for me back home. So we can see here some of the a cool little puppet show going on. These two watch. Ha! I'd want a lion's share of wenches myself, sticking a dragon or two in my youth. Not I, Conan. No soft-skinned creature would dare set eyes upon this monstrous face. Crom, who cares what you look like under that sack? You've a noble heart, Montago, and after this night we'll find you a worthy wench, I wager. Well, the crowd draws indoors for wine and ale. I could drown my own parched throat in a few spiced tankards. What's keeping our dwarf? What? So here that looks like an armed rider has set upon them. Conan gets Montago out of the way. Great sequence of action here from Nebres, and I do love the colors on this issue as well. The word that keeps coming to my mind as I read through this again for maybe the 10th or 20th time is lush, just how lush this art is. Must you hobble, man? Conan, you stride like a panther. I can't keep up. Hop to my back then. It's a short distance. Momentarily. A labyrinth of shadows, eh? But here's his steed. I hadn't planned a bath to Aquilonia, but let's to it. So this guy fled into a bathhouse, and he's hiding somewhere. Stop when you're told, gutter scum. You pig. I'll pull that black mane out by its roots, lice and all. Here, dog. Press these weights and keep clear of harm's way. A naked fool's an easy target for my blade. So he has mercy on this guy and doesn't kill him. Just basically stuns him with that weight. Pretty cool. Conan's, he brooks no fools. And he knows where the guy is. So he dives into the water and we see them facing off. He's going to go dagger to dagger with this guy. And it's so awesome here. We just see like the blood. And then Conan emerges with him. I'd have preferred him with a wagging tongue, able to tell us. It's one of Ibu Mala's men. Another hired dog, eh? Blast, they must have caught our dwarf spy. Show me the way to the devil's last camp. He may still be there. The longer this night lasts, the longer my steel aches for this cur's belly. So here then the two sneak back into the encampment of Ibu Mala. And this issue has it all. Conan is fighting human opponents, obviously. It's got the carnival freaks, and it also has the classic Conan beast fight. And this time he's got to fight a leopard. What was that? Conan, I heard nothing. Montago, you've never hid from 100 picks in a midnight forest. I could hear the dew falling. Something here. Great panel here where we have the figure, the lengthy figure of the leopard broken up by this panel with a close-up on Conan. A cheetah, Montago, out of the way. Great panels here with no dialogue. Ha, there's where I wanted you, spotted fury. So Conan gets around behind the cheetah. And a pity for such a noble cat to travel all the miles from Iranistan just to meet his doom at the hands of a king of Aquilonia. Just incredible. Conan, Mitra, what strength. Now to that wagon. Conan just brushes off the compliment. Are you there, pig? Blast it. He's gone then. Montago, who's there? I'll put a torch to this whole camp. Montago, it's Sandor. I thought I recognized your voice out there. Ibu Mala was here in a red rage a while ago. arming himself and his men. They've gone off to the woods in search of you and the others. Whose voice is that? Sandor and several others were in a separate wagon. There was no time to free them. Sandor, I'll return for you when Ibumala is slain. Success to you, friend. These nags, my blood is boiling at this wild boar chase Ibumala leads us. So meanwhile, back in the forest, Ibumala has smoked out the poor members of the carnival that had escaped. Ibumala, we are yours. By Jill's gut, you'll never run from me again, shackled scum. And he savagely kills this one. And you can see here, the dwarf has gone over to Ibumala and informed on where these guys were. That's how he found them. So we found Ibumala, the devil of Darfar, at last, Montago. Blasphemous. Dare you utter Ibumala's name? I've a yard of cold Aquilonian steel to answer that blade, scum. Great shot here of Ibumala hurling his throwing axe. He's a formidable warrior, so it should be a cool matchup between the two. Bring me his twisted guts, dogs. Hi! I'll unbow your whining pups first, Ibumala. Then I'll scatter you limb by limb to the winds. Conan, I've stood by, watching your courage long enough. I will assist. Ho! Would you flee with your tail between your legs like a craven jackal? Never. So Conan, in an amazing feat of strength here, and this cool open panel, closes with Ibumala, who is still on horseback, and physically stops his horse and flips it over. Just an incredible sequence of action here. And here, this full page is the money shot for the issue. It's totally awesome. Very well. You unwashed, illiterate barbarian scum. You aid in the dissension of my grotesques. You ruin my standing among kings. Then you dare to hound me. To damnation? I know not what in Jill's name I've ever done to you, stranger. But know ye this. The fire raging within my breast is one that knows neither height nor depth, nor shall it ever be satiated by less than your stinking carcass dripping red blood from the war axe of Ibumala. Hear me, then. In the years since I stole out of my village in Samaria, I have devoted my life, no cause, no king, no god, and yet in my youthful pursuit of self-glorification, never once have I enslaved others. No man did I wantonly slay. Were it not for the death of my steed, were it not for your red jackal's attempt on my life, had our paths never crossed, still would I champion the cause of those misfortunates within your grasp. So know you, devil, the liberator of your slaves, the swift vengeance of those you've oppressed. Your red death is Conan of Aquilonia. Just awesome there. Good work on the script by Alan Zelenitz here. For the death of White Tempest, for the blood of your grotesques, and for the damnable deceit of this black knight. Ha! Pray to your demon god, Jill Pig. So he's no match for Conan, as formidable as he is. But we have a wild card. No, since the assassin horseman I hired and the cheetah I set free did not succeed in killing you, I shall do so myself. Conan, you've saved me more than once this night. So the dwarf actually stabs Montago, tragically. Montago! Blast you, dwarf. I'll dash your brains on the ground. And he does just that. Montago, a noble hero's death, friend. Indeed, you were a king among your kind. Now, Ibumala, these woods will reek of your base blood. What? He fled during the commotion, Conan, to black perdition with him. Have no fear. I'll unshackle the lot of you and lead you to your freedom in Aquilonia. But before we set off on your dawn journey, let's lay this noble Montago to rest. Joe Rosen, letterer, George Russo's colorist, Jim Owsley, editor, Larry Hama, senior editor, Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. So fantastic. And we have the great bullpen bulletins by John Byrne. Totally great there to see a little bit of his work in these issues this month. And then we have a little preview of issue 19, which I think features some pretty excellent Mark Silvestri pencils. Very cool stuff. Yeah, he's going to be taking over the art chores on King Conan with issue 19. And I think he moves forward a little bit, at least, into the Conan the King transition, which occurs, I believe, in issue 20 or 21. Yeah, but this has been my reading of King Conan, number 18, some of Rudy Nebres' finest work, pencils and inks. A tremendous issue, a real blast to share this with you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. And I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.